Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Scatter Terrain video. I am your favorite Dungeon Master, DM Andy, and today we're gonna build wrecked car piles. If you've been keeping up with my channel at all, you know we've been playing Gaslands a lot. So I'm gonna show you how we make some of the obstacles we use to cause collisions in the games we play. I'm going to use a couple of the techniques that I've showed you in previous videos where I cut down some corrugated cardboard and tear the edges away so you have an edge all the way around. Then I'm going to coat it in PVA or white glue and use a wet paintbrush to make sure I smooth everything out. For those of you who haven't seen me do this before, the main reason we smooth all this glue out is because we're going to add sand to this base to create ground texture. It's important to fill in every nook and cranny so you get good coverage when you coat it in the sand. Just use any play sand or sand you have from even your driveway to coat this piece. It looks a bit like a kitty litter pile, but it's going to turn out great. If you do decide to use any sand or rocks from outside, make sure you bake it in the oven for about 20 minutes at 200 degrees to kill off any of the bacteria that might be growing in it. And now it's on to the carnage. I'm going to take a pair of pliers and I'm just going to start tearing into these cars. I like to bust them up and make them look really damaged before I glue them down to the base. Occasionally, these die-cast cars can be pretty tough, so just be careful when you're working on them. You might even consider using safety glasses so you don't get a wheel in the eye. Here I'm using a set of dikes to cut the wheels apart. We don't want the post that runs between them because we want to be able to place the wheels in damaged spots or even away from the car like the wheel blew off. Once the base is dry and the cars are nice and banged up with the wheels detached, I like to glue the bottoms back on with a hot glue gun or a little super glue. Just glue them together however you want. Remember, they've been wrecked, so they're not going to look like the seats are where they used to sit or even the motor's still there. Just make as much carnage as you can as you're putting these debris piles back together. Then I just pump on a thick coat of hot glue and place the car in the glue and let it dry. And you got your first car stuck onto your base. Then I do the same thing with the next car. And then maybe you've got a third car or even a fourth car. Stack them up however you want. They're your scatter terrain pieces for your game. Here I switch glue just to show you can use whatever you've got around the house. So if for any reason you run out of glue halfway through the project, just switch to something else. There's nothing saying you can't use the basic products you have around the house to make these awesome pieces for your gaming table. I don't mean to brag on myself, but that's a pretty good looking car wreck right there. That would scare any insurance agent in the world. Now I'm going to find different spots to place the wheels. I'm going to pump on a little hot glue and shove a wheel in place. Again, try to make it look like the car wrecked and a wheel came off here or it folded under the car there. Just decorate it how you want, but try to make the carnage real. Try to remember, these are Gasland racing cars that have wrecked in previous races. So I took a drill with a small bit and I started adding bullet hole damage to the different cars. Just like in a previous video, I try not to drill all the way through the car. Just put a ding in where the bullet ricocheted off. Here I'm going to add a few armor plates. I'm just going to cut out some cereal box cardboard, glue those onto the car, and paint them up gray later. And now we're off to the paint shop. I'm going to take these outside and base coat them with a flat black spray paint. I get it for about $1 a can at Home Depot and Lowe's. So, won't cost you much. And it really brings these cars to life. And next, I just use some cheap acrylic paint and color in the ground. I stipple on as much as I like to give it the ground color that matches my mats as best I can. If you made mats with me last week, just use the same color you used on that, and it'll come out perfect. Then I head to the cars. I picked a gray primer color for this car. I figure primered cars in a Gaslands apocalyptic wasteland is probably pretty common. And then I wanted it to look like my green team took a hit, so I went ahead and painted the other car up green. And now on to your favorite Dungeon Master's favorite step of scatter terrain for Gaslands. All the mud you put all over the cars. I just spent a little time going around the fenders, the front and the back of the car. Anything that had fallen off, I put a little brown paint on them to make them look muddy. And there you have it. an awesome piece of scatter terrain, a wrecked car pile for your post-apocalyptic vehicular combat. These pieces are perfect in Gaslands for the return smash attack against an obstacle on the board. And as always, I am your favorite Dungeon Master DM Andy saying, please send me your children's Hot Wheels. I want to crush them with a hammer.